Joining us now is OjyOkpe, with stories trending around the world. Hello, Jinx.
Happy Friday, Dr. Abati. Good
Thank
morning.
God it's Friday.
TGIF, I'm glad you know how to keep secrets. Yeah. Good morning, Ayo. How are you this morning? Good morning. Yes, good.
Oji, your secrets as of today are very safe with me.
But I know that.
Please, you don't need to tell any other person. Oji, no.
Well, all right.
No, I'm not going to take this.
It's a great Friday today. We have some good news for certain group of people. Well, good morning to you viewers. Let's begin what's trending with reactions trailing the new national minimum wage agreed upon on Thursday. After several weeks of negotiations, the federal government and organized labor settled for 70,000 naira for Nigerian workers during a meeting at the State House in Abuja. Well, after that meeting, leaders of organized labor expressed confidence in the Tinubu administration, singing his praise.
Victoria, Asata, Triposa to the president. Bosa, Bosa,
Three bosas for the president.
Bosa, Bosa, Bosa.
He's a virtue.
In Africa, he's a way to. Continua. Victoria, Asata, wasting Nigerians time with strikes.
Are we serious on this?
From 650,000 to 70,000. He's a way to
Okay, we're laughing here. Well, all right, let's take reactions from users on social media. This is from Michael, who wrote, "How time flies. From we want shipped ground to 615,000 naira demand to 3 bosas for the president. This is the story of labor on the national minimum wage journey. 70,000 naira is the consensus. Those who are expecting the national grid to be crippled are angry." Well, Falabi wrote, "My opinion, 1, 70,000 naira as workers' minimum wage is a fair bargain. 2, the purchasing power needs to be increased urgently and importantly. 3, major consumable food prices needs to be worked on because Nigerians are hungry. 4, basic healthcare services should be free nationwide with NIN cards for pass. 5, state and federal government should improve all healthcare centers across 774 local government areas. 6, we need clear blueprint on how federal government plans to assist private sectors to meet up with the national minimum wage. 7, then the minimum wage will have value." Well, this person wrote, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday increased the minimum wage to 70,000 naira. That's about $45. And to be reviewed every 3 years. Is this minimum wage a living wage in Nigeria? What can it do for a family of at least 4? How much is a bag of rice? Which university will this be enough to pay school fees for? Well, I mean, there are a lot of reactions. Ayo, I mean, that other Twitter user, was talking about the fact that, federal government have to also negotiate with the private sector to be able to come up with that minimum wage. But it's not just the private sector. I believe also state governors will have it. They are the key, because also in the release that Ajuri Ngelale put out yesterday, I think President Tinubu also said something about moving away from the tripartite committee, saying that, almost alluding that this is a federal government wage, but it is a national minimum wage, and the state governors have to abide by it. Are they able to pay the 70,000 naira? These are the questions that are out there.
Are businesses enabled to afford that amount of money? Because we keep talking about the fact that the private sector employs this, bulk of Nigeria's workers, and they said explicitly that they would struggle to pay at 62,000 naira. So having it at 70,000 naira, I don't know what the options would be for them. But going back to organized labor, because I think that it's an important conversation to have. Earlier on, I'm glad that that video has been played because they said that, no, they were just singing the song as part of the end of a meeting. So whether good or bad, they will still sing the song. They even gave 3 bosas. I don't know if that's part of organized labor's closing anthem, where they give 3 bosas to the principal in the room. But it was celebratory. It was like they'd achieved something really big. And I have to say, to reiterate again, that the feeling of disappointment is as a result of the stance of organized labor, all this while, including a strike action, to say that we're not shifting. Of course, we all said it on this table that 615,000 naira, even 215,000 naira, 50,000 naira was unrealistic. And we talked about this and argued this point to them a number of times, that people, especially the private sector, the state governors, could not afford this. However, why continue to take people on a cruise, if I use that word, and then end up at 70,000 naira rejoicing at the prospect after saying that you wouldn't shift? They said that the reason why they shifted was because the president promised them more infrastructure. I wish we'd get him a detailed time, based on timeline. When will this be achieved? Because the CNG buses were still waiting for some of these ones. And so I don't think it's enough. I think they sold the Nigerian workers short at that meeting, and it also makes them lose credibility and trust of the people in terms of really representing their views.
Yes, I mean, I'm glad you also raised the CNG buses, part of my story. But let me take another reaction. This person wrote, Nigerian senators are pocketing 1.2 million naira as hardship allowance. But we are jubilating over a new minimum wage of 70,000 naira. Well, I know you want to speak. In the meantime, members of the House of Representatives have agreed to cut their salaries by 50% for 6 months as part of their solidarity and sacrifice to support the economic hardship in the country. Well, according to Daily Trust, slashing their salary of 600,000 naira monthly by 50% for 360 lawmakers will equate to about 108 million naira monthly for the next 6 months. I think this is a great gesture. I mean, I think it passed yesterday. But obviously, during that meeting also, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu promised to donate 36 CNG-powered buses to the Nigeria Labour Congress and to the Trade Union Congress. The CNG-powered buses will have a sitting capacity of 100 each. You're smiling. Go ahead, Rufai, quickly.
Solidarity forever. We shall always stand on cruise. That's what Labour has become. The Nigeria Labour Congress is a big joke. Ojo, let's tell ourselves the truth. This Labour led Nigeria on a wild goose chase. At first, they brought some professor here that said they calculated empirically 650,000 for Nigerians. When they went back to collect 70,000, what happened to the empirical calculation? I saw their rep this morning trying to justify, said they were going back to be able to talk. They've accepted it already, and that's what befalls all labor unions. This Labour is a joke, and I say it to their faces. What happened to the reduction in electricity tariff that they advocated? What happened to the CNG boys that they've been talking about since last year? What also happens to the welfare of the workers? So they say because of the economic condition, they accepted 70,000 naira, despite all the strikes and everything they had gone through. You see, what they have done is that they've lost credibility. When they call the next time, Nigerians should never take them seriously because they're a bunch of jokers. As regards the, the National Assembly, Oji, you might call it a good gesture. I laugh in Spanish or in French or Chinese. The real meat of their money is in their allowances.
Yeah, that's what I read. 1.2 million.
They are collecting 1 point in hardship allowance.
Hardship allowance.
And they say their salaries. No, if they are truly ready, let me give them an advice.
Yes.
I think by the budget, both houses or the house, they collect about 300 billion for the National Assembly. They should put that money in half and use 150 billion to do projects for national development for Nigeria, fix some roads, fix some schools. Then I will know they are serious. As far as I'm concerned, they are not serious. And the other 36 CNG buses, yes, we would like to see when Labour finally gets it. It's not today we're talking about CNG. And hopefully they should also remember that they must put CNG stations around available so that people can be able to get the gas.
People like you, Rufai.
Yes, can be able to get the gas. So, Oji, it just reminds us of the fact that the Labour is a sellout. Some civil societies are sellouts in this country. For other parts of society sellouts. The National Assembly rubber stamp. Executive always doing their bidding. The problem with Nigeria today, Oji, is that there are too few people fighting for the common man.
That is it.
And guess what? Edward Murrow said something. He said, in a country of sheep, the government will be the wolf.
Yeah, I like your point. There are few people fighting for the common man, which will also bring me to my next story. I mean, we're talking about increasing our productivity in Nigeria. We get the story. Well, in a new twist of events, the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority announced on Thursday that the Dangote Refinery is still at pre-commissioning stage and has not been licensed. The chief executive officer of the regulatory body, Farouk Ahmed, while speaking to State House correspondents, said that the Dangote Refinery is only producing between 650 to 1,200 ppm, and so their quality is much inferior to imported quality. Let's take a look.
And the claims by some media houses that we're trying to scuttle Dangote Refinery, that is not so. Dangote Refinery is still in the pre-commissioning stage. It has not been licensed yet. We haven't licensed them yet. They are still in pre-commissioning. I think they're about 45% completion rather. So we cannot rely heavily on one refinery to feed the nation, because the Dangote is requesting that we should suspend or stop all importation of petroleum products, especially AGO and jet kero, and direct all marketers to the refinery. That is not good for the nation in terms of energy security, and that is not good for markets because of monopoly. Dangote Refinery, as well as some modular refineries, like Walter Smith's Refinery, RD Refinery, they're producing between 650 to 1,200 ppm. So in terms of quality, their quality is much, much inferior to the imported quality.
All right, Dr. Abati, you know that I visited that Dangote Refinery only on Sunday, and I called it Planet Dangote. I was in awe. I mean, for us to hear this regulatory body saying that they are still in the pre-commissioning phase, it sounds like a joke. Well, before you go, I did try to reach out to the corporate comms at the Dangote Refinery, and they are going to release a robust statement in response to this, because obviously we know that the Dangote Refinery has been commissioned.
Okay, one, I mean, this is a table where we've been expressing a lot of optimism about the Dangote Refinery. We were looking forward to it, the investment. We praised Alhaji Aliko Dangote for his faith in Nigeria, his nationalism. At a time when other people take their money out, he believes in Nigeria, and it creates opportunities. Now, he granted an interview in which he said, look, there were local and external saboteurs trying to discourage him, but that what he has done with the Dangote Refinery is a leap of faith, that if he had responded to those trying to discourage him, he would not have been able to do it. Now, this morning, I think Alhaji Aliko Dangote has been vindicated by the fact that there are people, you know, internally and externally, who are trying to sabotage his process. Now, Farouk Ahmed, I think he worked before within the NMPC system, and it was brought back, you know, to now be the head of the midstream and downstream sector. What he has simply done is to dash the hope of Nigerians about the contribution, the value of the Dangote Refinery. Number two, what he has done is an incredible act of demarketing.
Correct.
Which is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Nigerian government has been saying, we will support local businesses, we will provide enabling environment. What Farouk Ahmed just did with his press statement is to say that the Tinubu government perhaps is not committed to that. Now, he talked about monopoly, that Dangote is looking for monopoly. But this is the same issue, even with NMPC Limited. People say, oh, NMPC Limited enjoys a monopoly. Now you have a private operator trying to even break that monopoly and make a contribution. Number three, Nigerians have been talking about refineries. Now, what have we done with refineries? I'm talking about people sabotaging. The Port Harcourt refinery that they say has been mechanically completed. Some community youths, you know, went there and attacked and, you know, sabotage the refinery. So the people who are suffering from this demarketing are the Nigerian people. Even Dangote Refinery that's supposed to help, they are not going to allow him. Number five, he says that, you know, the value of crude provided by Dangote Refinery is of high sulfur content. Where is the laboratory that is owned by the midstream and downstream authority, of Nigeria? Does he have a laboratory where he conducted the test, or he just put some imaginary thing out of his head? I mean, we used to have what they call pre-shipment inspection.
Yeah.
The about 5 million liters that Dangote refinery has exported. Now, did they do pre-shipment inspection? Have they received any complaints from the people that bought the AGO from abroad, about the quality of it? So in this country, we have to be very careful. And I think that Farouk Ahmed and those who hold his beliefs should be, his kind of belief, should be investigated.
Absolutely.
Because you cannot sabotage President Tinubu and the Nigerian government by just making unsubstantiated claims on television.
All right.
I thought he was saying something about media. Media says something. No, we're in this together. We want the best for Nigeria.
Absolutely. Speaking about oil theft and all of that, actually he was speaking with the military, I guess, in regards to oil theft in Port Harcourt when he made that statement. I mean, we need more production. I love your comment, Dr. Abati. Well said. Well, in another development, Senate President Godswill Akpabio on Thursday set social media abuzz after he cautioned Senator Natasha Akpoti in a viral video. Well, in the video, Akpoti, during deliberations on the floor of the Senate, rose to explain why she disagreed with a bill. Akpabio, in response, said she had to be recognized before she could speak because the Senate is not a nightclub. Let's take a look.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay.
Mr. President, we don't want it to be killed. We just want a bit of modification. We don't want the bill killed, but it should be slight modifications, sir. It's a necessary bill.
Distinguished Senator Natasha, in the chamber, you have to be recognized before you speak.
Oh, pardon me.
Yeah, we are not in a nightclub. Those again say nay. Clyde.
Very few words for Akpabio. You guys, I don't find it funny. I don't find it funny at all. I think it is derogatory.
It is.
At most.
It's derogatory. It was dismissive.
Yeah.
He dismissed her as if what she was saying had no relevance. And I don't think, in all honesty, and if we're being fair, that if we're a male counterpart, would have done the same.
Yes.
And I say this because...
I support you on that.
That's the point.
They speak with a bit more
respect.
It was very dismissive.
Come
And sometimes we have prejudices and biases that are even unconscious. We just speak, we don't even recognize that. And this is especially at a time when we're trying to get more women into the legislative quarters. We're getting more women. We have 4 women as senators out of a house of 106. And we have talked about the fact that we need more representation of women in the Senate. Unfortunately, when women are shut down like that, publicly embarrassed, then it doesn't in any way encourage them speaking up or encouraging more women to go in there. I think that in fairness to her, she deserves an apology.
Absolutely.
And I believe that not just for Senator Natasha Akpoti+Dangote, but for every woman who is looking to be one day a senator or hold a position in Nigeria.
Well said.
I have a different opinion.
What is your opinion?
I have a different opinion.
Except you don't want
because
us to
no,
Okay.
quickly. I'll be brief.
Sure.
Except that I don't think that the contest was sexist.
Okay.
You see that Senator Natasha Akpoti herself, when she was corrected, that you have to be permitted before you speak. The Senate President was talking about procedure. Okay?
But why use
about
the word
house
nightclub?
rules? Yeah. The one you can disagree with is about nightclub. Nightclub. That's the one you can disagree with.
That's what we're talking
about. Yeah, but I don't think that the reference
That's
to
all we're talking
nightclub
about.
is in a sexist context.
I think it's
Again, in a nightclub, people don't talk in a nightclub. They go there to pepper soup.
No, they make noise in a nightclub.
Music. What do you know about nightclub?
I don't know.
Ran a nightclub.
I knew that.
We ran a
I
nightclub
knew that,
for
Dr.
years.
Abati.
People come there to enjoy themselves. The music will be bellowing
that's
and
what
all
I
of
mean.
that.
It's
So
noise.
you may say the reference to the nightclub, but I don't think he's saying that women belong to the nightclub. I don't think that's the context in which Senator Akpabio spoke.
Since we have...
Dr. Abasi, with due respect, there are 9 clubs and there are 9 clubs. So.
All right. Okay.
So, but let me just say this quickly.
Let me just
Hardship Coliseum was the top of the pile.
Was that the one you ran? Dr. Abasi, go ahead. He said he ran a nightclub.
That one is different from Zaza.
Okay, let's go quickly. We have to go Rufai.
It's different from Zaza.
I've been to a nightclub in a long time. I used to go when I was in New York, not here. So
when
I was a young girl. It was when I was a young girl. Rufai.
So what I'm saying is this.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Dr. Abasi, with due respect, sir. It is a very sexist word. And I challenge Mr. Akpabio to say that to a fellow senator like Ali Ndume. They're not born and well. They will not be able to say it. And I say it on live TV. And see, you know what hurt me the most in all of this? After the lady, Natasha, had said, pardon me, I thought you should have piped down. She acknowledged the fact. I understand your context, Dr. Abati. She acknowledged the fact of procedure and she said, pardon me.
All right.
After that, then you went ahead to say, oh, it's not enough.
All right. I loved Ayo's submission. Natasha Akpoti deserves an apology.
Natasha Akpoti may not be a nightclub person.
I'm sure she's not. In another development, we're talking about women. I think this is an important story. Well, all right. In another development, the Minister of Women Affairs, Uju Kennedy Ohaneye, on Thursday paid a visit to Zemilasi Tafida, a woman who in a viral video said that she and her children were evicted by her ex-husband. The woman is said to be the ex-wife of Mohammed Tafida, son of former Nigerian ambassador to the United Kingdom, Senator Tafida. She narrated how she was a victim of domestic violence and how she has been rendered homeless, while calling on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to intervene.
Dear Mr. President, I've been going through this for so long. These are my children, Suraj Mohammed Tafida, Zaid Mohammed Tafida, and Hawa Mohammed Tafida. A grave injustice has been happening to me and my children for so long. No woman would like to expose her children to this. But my child, that is autistic, has seen his father visibly abusing me. I was bruised, battered, in a broken state of mind. I had to go for therapy. Well-wishers have been standing by me. I've been taking care of these children selflessly, and he works for Foreign Affairs. How he even left the country is questionable.
Well, it's great that the Women Affairs Minister has intervened. She said that the mother and children are now safe, and the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, they're now working closely to ensure peace, security, and normalcy for the family. Ayo.
I must commend the minister for responding very swiftly to this, but I think a next step would be to protect women in Nigeria generally. The domestic violence numbers are incredibly high, and I know that certain states are doing great work with regards to that, Lagos State with the DSV and others, but the federal government and other state government must protect Nigerian women more from perpetrators of violence, so that it's not just one woman who is benefiting from this, but number one, we prevent, number two, we also ensure that women are protected. We need more safe houses across Nigeria, and I hope this is one thing that the minister would do as part of her responsibilities.
Fantastic. Before we take our final story, I'd like for us to congratulate Owoyemi Adebayo, who's a 26-year-old barber who achieved a time of 14 minutes, 56 seconds, smashing the previous record of 18 minutes, 57 seconds. He set the record by doing a complete 5-skin fade haircut. Congratulations. Well, I mean, another world record, really. Congratulations to Owoyemi Adebayo. We'll take our final story. In the United States, where former President Donald Trump delivered his first address after he escaped an assassination attempt in Pennsylvania, Trump spoke to delegates at the RNC meeting in Milwaukee. He discussed details of his assassination attempt, saying that he is standing before the delegates only by the grace of Almighty God. The highlight of his speech was when he thanked Corey Compatore, the firefighter who tragically lost his life.
He lost his life selflessly acting as a human shield to protect them from flying bullets. He went right over the top of them and was hit. What a fine man he was.
Definitely the highlight of that speech. I thought it was a great honor, well deserved. Well, all right. I'd like to thank you all. I wish you guys have a great weekend. Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. I'll see you all next week.